Hi, friends. Welcome to My Divorce Real Estate. I'm Amber Gifford, and this is my husband and teammate, Scotty Gifford.
Hello, hello. And today we have Amanda Pierson. We're the Heights Law Group here in Houston. And today we're going to be talking about
Wills.
wills. And why do we need a will?
Everyone needs a
Does
will.
everyone need a will? I mean, only if you don't plan on dying, right? If you plan on not dying, you don't need a will, right?
Well, yeah, I suppose if you were going to live forever, then you wouldn't need to worry about such things. But everybody's going to die. We all hate to think about it. I hate to admit it. We all believe it's going to not be for a very, very, very long time. And I hope that that is the case for all of us, but we still need a will.
Kind
So
of like insurance. Like it's something that you need to insure. Like it's just kind of like insurance in a way. Like everyone doesn't want to spend the money, but it really protects you in the long run, especially if you have children. And Amanda's the person to do that for you because she's an estate planning and probate attorney here in Houston, Texas, with the Heights Law Group. So we're excited to have her. Let's just jump in.
I think it's one of those things. If you don't have a plan, you're planning to fail, right? That's kind of how.
This is true.
absolutely. You're not taking care of your family, you're not protecting them. And even if you think, oh, it's fine under, Texas laws, I'm sure the people that I'd want to get the money will get the money. It's still better to have a will. It still saves you money with the probate. It still makes your loved ones feel like you really gave some thought to things and these are your final wishes and you're taking care of them.
So we all know we need a will, but when is the best time to get one?
The truth is now everyone should have a will in place, and that will should grow with them throughout their lives because the people in our lives change and the roles that we have filled, the decision makers and the beneficiaries, those will evolve too as we grow and our lives change. So you want a will now and you want to just keep updating it throughout your life.
So if you're married, do you have a joint will or do you have each individual?
So if you are married, don't get a joint will. It's possible to get a joint will, but you don't want to have a joint will. Everybody needs their own will. We'll probate each will when the first spouse passes and the second spouse passes. But if you have a spouse who dies, 20 years prior to the second spouse, the joint will is going to overcomplicate things and cause a lot of issues. So you each want your own legal document that is probated and that you can update individually over time.
And so, like, if we came to you and we said, "Hey, we need a will," you would go, "Okay, I'm going to write a will for Scotty. I'm going to write a will for Amber," and they're kind of going to say the same ish things, but if that's what we want, but then you would just keep both of them. And I think you explained to us in another video we were talking about probate, which we'll link to. It was talking about we need if you don't have the original will in hand, then it's not doesn't count, right?
Right. Well, it can count, but it's a much more complicated and costly procedure to prove it up and have it admitted to the court. So you want to keep that original will. That's going to be what's presented to court. And yes, I would create sweetheart wills, so to speak, or wills that are more or less mirror images of each other, depending on what you want. So you would still be able to plan together and coordinate together. You just would each have your own separate legal document that you'd sign off on.
And a will consists of what are all the things in it? Because I know when we did ours, there's a lot of documents, and I'm like, do I even need this? Like, of course, if I die, you're going to have medical, I don't even know what it's called. You'll be taking care of me, and like you'll be making the decisions on my. Do you have to have all of those things? And what are some of them?
Yeah, so in your estate plan is that, the big umbrella picture of all of the legal documents, and that'll include your will. Just like you said, that'll include your medical power of
That's
attorney.
it.
There is
Medical.
another one that's a statutory durable power of attorney.
Yeah.
That's your financial power of attorney. A lot of people appoint declarations of guardians who they'd want to be both the guardians of their children if they're minors, and you can even appoint a guardian for yourself if you get, severe dementia, accident, something where you need a legal guardian appointed. You can pre-select who those people are going to be.
Hmm.
Another key component of any estate plan is your living will, also known as an advance directive, and that's a document where you're sort of putting your wishes out there for end of life care. If you want to be kept on life support, if you want to be just made comfortable, essentially establishing that in advance.
I just need to pull the plug on me and just.
Right.
So it's all included. It's not like you pick and choose. Oh, I don't. I mean, even though we know like your spouse would probably make those decisions for you if you didn't have a will, you still have that in there. It comes with it. It's part of it. It's just better.
Absolutely. So I put those in all of my packages. I do not want people to pick and choose or feel like they can't get a document for cost or things like that. So all of the basic documents as core documents are included in any estate plan that people choose. And I encourage them to take advantage of all of the documents and have everything in place.
So is it like I go to the Five Guys and I pick, okay, well, number one or number two or number three, right? I get my options, but they all
Yeah.
come. It's a combo, right? We don't just get the one thing, right?
Absolutely. Bundled
Okay.
package, you get everything. I mean, there's ways to upgrade estate planning with, if you want to do a trust or you want to update deeds to properties, but any basic will package is going to include all of the documents that you need.
Awesome.
So, what is an executor for those that don't know, and how do you choose that person, or who would be the best person to choose, in your opinion?
Absolutely. An executor is the person who, after you die, will take your will to the court, will probate that will with an attorney, okay, will oversee paying debts of the estate and will oversee distributing assets, selling property, everything that needs to be done in the administration of the estate. So think administrative person in your life who you think is going to be comfortable with that sort of financial role and authority position.
So in this case, we don't want to pick like Uncle Joey that's never left the house and just eating bonbons every day, right? We want to.
But like for a married couple, would you choose the same person or not necessarily?
It depends. I mean, most people choose a surviving spouse as their first choice. And then for alternate, somebody's backup, it really depends. Some people feel more comfortable with their estate being run by their side of the family. Other people don't really care. They're close to their in-laws and they all pick the same people. So that's definitely a case by case determination.
Okay, cool.
And yeah, so like we can have, you just said alternates. So like how many alternates do we usually go deep? Do we go like 16 or we just go like three, you know?
No, I usually have a primary and 1 to 2 alternates. The
Okay.
reason you don't go 16 deep is that if people are really dying like that, dropping like flies, you need to come back in and just update your estate plan because there is a lot that's going to change.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. Cause I
And
guess,
that kind of goes back to our last video too. I was talking about how choosing a beneficiary or an executor could be difficult if you've gone through a divorce. Possibly you don't feel like you have anybody, but I love what you said. Like, think about if you were in the hospital, who would you call upon to help you go feed your dogs or pick up your mail or bring you something? Like, we often feel alone during times of fear-based situations, and it's really not the case. And people generally do want to help. So, like, I think I made the mistake of not proceeding forward with it when really you just need to start making those steps forward, and then you can help them get to that point. Because also, and correct me if I'm wrong, that if you start the will process and you've already started it, and you die, like say we started ours last week, but we didn't finish it and he passed away. I choose you instead of me.
of course, I'm gonna die first. Men statistically die first, right?
But it's still, you're still valid. I don't know if that's the right word.
No, unfortunately, until your will is done and signed, it's not going to control. I mean,
Oh.
you could certainly use that as evidence of what you would have wanted and hope for the best that your executor will respect those last wishes, but it's not. It's not going to be
So if
the
you've already started it and you die in the middle and you hadn't finished it, it goes back to probate.
Yes, it's going to go to probate and it's going to be most likely intestate succession. It's going to go under Texas law.
So
Good
what you
to
just
know.
said there, you might have answered it, but maybe I didn't catch this. So what happens if we came to you, we signed a will? What makes it official? What makes does like it's sealed? You saw me sign it, so it's sealed, or what's going on there? How is it official?
Yeah, I oversee all my will signings, and what happens is I'll have you sign. You're going to initial every page. You're going to sign. We have it's self-proven the will. You're going to have witnesses who sit there. They're going to sign.
Yeah.
You're going to have a notary who signs. They oversaw the whole deal, and that's how I run my estate planning, my will signings, and you'll have all the boxes checked, and it'll be a fully legally binding document.
Awesome. So it's not like that legal Zoom thing where we're just downloading a document. I kind of signed it and like, all right, that's good enough, right?
Right. And a lot of people think that it is. If they don't have an attorney looking over it, they might think that just signing it is enough. And it's not. So make sure you've got your witnesses, you've got your notary, everybody signs in the right places, and you
And
want to
then
make sure
you
it's right.
save that original in a fire waterproof safe
The
Yes,
black
keep it
box.
safe.
forever.
Absolutely. Keep that document safe because that is what people are going to need when you die.
So, what is a POD, paid upon death, if people don't know? And should we be using that for banking institutions? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, payable on death accounts are accounts that don't pass through probate. They are accounts that pass according to the terms of the account itself. So if you have an account and you have a payable on death beneficiary, when you die, you don't have to initiate probate to be able to move that asset. You'll probably be able to just give proof of identity that you're the person that the account is payable on death to, and a death certificate to prove that the account holder is not dead, and that's going to be enough to transfer that asset. So it's an institution by institution dependent. So I can't say for everybody that that's the blanket rule, but for the most
Yeah.
part, that's all that's needed. And it's a great way to move assets out of probate.
I know for myself and my mom, I had to call the bank and just make sure she clarified our banking. Y'all just call your bank if you're not sure, and it's probably already written in there, and you don't even know it when you
Right.
chose your beneficiary. But if you're in question of it, call and ask.
Absolutely.
You want to go from this question?
So we're talking about the, I don't know.
Well, you don't know where we're at?
No, I have no idea. I'm here for the ride.
So I guess the next question we went across, if you don't have family members, what about if you're a blended family with kids on both sides and one of you dies, who gets the house under the portion of? And I think we're gonna do a chart there on that
Yeah,
one,
I
but
think
speak briefly on that maybe.
you sent me a chart here, and I'll see if I can share screen and maybe let's see here. I'm gonna mess this up.
And if not, what I can do is basically explain that it is so complicated that it needs a chart, right?
Yeah, can you
The
see
legal
that or
effect of
no?
not having a will, this is from texaslawhelp.org. It's a website that is accessible to anybody with a lot of basic legal information. In this chart, you'll see section 1, it's people who are married with children. You have distribution rules for separate personal property. And that's anything that's not real estate or real property, including mineral interests. The section B is your separate real property. And you can see it's complicated. The surviving,
Yeah,
I'm
one
lost
third
already.
life
We got a
estate.
triangle and a circle. I'm getting
like
confused
you would
here.
need an attorney to help you hands down. I
Yeah.
mean, again, it just goes back to having that will, making sure that you are keeping up to date with it. If you divorce, if you know what, you just need a will, and you need someone who's an expert to help you execute that and make sure your plans are what they are.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm just confused. I'm trying to, I took a lot of mathematics in school, but I'm confused by this circle and
I'm a
It's
triangle.
person of
complicated. It's really complicated. And, it divides all kinds of crazy. If you keep scrolling down, community property, it depends on if you have kids from the same marriage, if you have kids from outside the marriage. I mean, it's complicated. Okay. So that's really the point of this chart, is to take a look and realize that it's not straightforward. It's not just all to the surviving spouse and then the kids. It depends on the type of property. It depends on if you're married or not. It depends on if you have kids from a prior relationship or marriage, and all of those factors will come together to determine what happens.
what if you, and this is just me listening to you talk, thinking like, what if you have a will and you're leaving your estate or money or whatever to your children. So you have multiple children, and God forbid something happens to one of your children. What happens to the money that was designated to that child?
It depends on your will. So
Oh,
you
so it's
can
just
say that it goes to your child's descendants. So if they have kids, then their interest will pass to their kids. You could do it differently. You could say it would pass to the other surviving children. I mean, that's going to be a determination that you make when you're putting
so
together
you're
your will.
really like covering the whole thing. Like it's not in case someone passes too that you're also giving money to or whatever it is you're giving. Then it's onward from there even.
Exactly. And we even have what's called a remote contingent beneficiary provision, which is basically everybody that you designate, if they all pass away before you, then what would you want to have happen? And
Oh
we'll cover
wow.
that as well.
All right. So I guess what is the average cost of a will?
Wills vary. You're going to find that they vary based on the attorney and their experience, and based on the geographic area. And if your lawyer is overseeing the will and not just drafting documents, but actually sitting down, printing them, signing them with you, all of that, I would say expect to pay at least about $1,500 would be a safe
Um,
estimate for a will for an individual. And it goes up from there depending on if you have a married couple, if you have a blended family, if you have tax planning, if you have trust planning,
Oh, wow.
it can, continue to go up based on the complexity of your situation.
And any of those things you would obviously talk to them about, hey, this is based on your situation. This is kind of the cost we're looking at, right? So it's not just going to go, you're not just getting a bill later and be like, hey, I didn't know I agreed to this $4,000 bill. You'd be like, oh, no. You'd kind of tell them up front and be like, hey, based on your situation, this is what it would cost you, right?
Exactly. This is an upfront. I'm going to give you an estimate and you can say yes, you can say no, you can add, you can take away, but it's a flat fee, no surprises. It's at least how I do things and how a lot of estate planning attorneys handle it.
Awesome.
And it doesn't take, I guess, that long, depending upon the complexity of it. I mean, it's not something you want to delay on. Like if you're waiting, if the attorney's waiting on something, you better get it to them to get moving.
My holdups are generally the clients. They're taking time to review, they're taking time to make decisions, but I can generally turn my drafting around within 1 to 2 weeks. And so it's more so a question of my client schedules and how ready they are to start making decisions.
So is that a question when they're interviewing attorneys, they should be asking their turnaround time?
Yeah, absolutely. Asking average turnaround will tell you if the attorney has a backlog or if they have kind of a good process in place to work through the backlog, and
Yeah,
everyone's
because
different.
what if you're in the hospital and it's not a good looking situation and you got to hurry up and get one done? I had a friend that was in that situation. They were running all over town trying to get everything finalized before her husband passed. So you don't really want to be in that position. And she's entitled. And so she's always recommending, please, everybody have a will.
Right,
Because all
right.
the issues that can come up. Yeah.
Yeah, we see a lot of issues with real estate when it's revolved, when people don't have that plans in place. And, especially, we specialize mostly the divorce aspect of it, but like having those spouses that were figuring out if you actually married when you bought the property, were you divorced, where was it awarded to, right? Who's controlling an asset at that point? So that's where we kind of our wheelhouse is. And if you found any of this information helpful, I would ask that you like and subscribe to our video. Obviously, we'll post Amanda's information down below where you contact her. We'll also post a chart where you saw some of the where it went.
Circles and
You
triangles.
can look at the circles and triangles yourself. Spend a few hours analyzing that, and then you go, okay, Amanda, I need your help, right? So you can give her a call or email her on her website.
I mean, is there anything else, Amanda, you'd like to add in regards to wills aside from everybody get a will?
Yeah, everyone get a will. It's a painless process. It's not so bad. And you feel great. Once you finish your will and your documents and you get them signed off, it is like a big weight off your shoulders, I promise.
Yeah, I
It's a
agree.
relief to know that you have that in place and that your family's protected and you're in good shape.
Awesome. Thanks so much for all your knowledge on everything. We really appreciate you being with us.
My pleasure. Thank you guys so much for having me here.
Of course. And as always, we're here to bring you real life experiences to all your real estate needs. Bada bing.